cable, and we've got, wow, it's in alphabetical order out of the box, and there are a ton of live TV channels. This is really cool. Hey guys, welcome back for another review. Today I've got the new S7 Ultra from SuperBox. We're gonna unbox it real quick, go through what's inside, go through the major features, hook it up into my home theater, and see what we think. Now this is an Android-based, Android 12 specifically, streaming box with some customized features, including Internet TV. So I'm excited to try this out and see how it compares to your favorite box. Maybe you're using Apple TV or Roku, or maybe rocking an old NVIDIA Shield. I've still got one of those in my drawer. Very nice looking box. We've got a silver blue paint job. So this is a lot like the Acrylic LP10 that I've got and reviewed. It looks like a large screen, but I can see the actual display is only about 2 inches and about half the height. So not too much there to actually see. That's okay. I don't look at any of the devices once I install them. If they've got lights I can't even turn off, I put blackout tape on them. We've got 2 antennas on the back, undoubtedly for Wi-Fi, maybe also for Bluetooth. Got a bevy of connections on the back. We've got USB-C power, infrared, and AV. I'm not sure what the AV would be. Maybe some kind of audio input. The IR is probably for, sometimes with remote systems, you can either use an IR blaster or direct into a cable. An HDMI and Ethernet ports and optical. Nice little semi-squishy domed rubber feet on the bottom, so it's not going to be sliding around. We've got vents on the bottom, vents on the one side, and then on the other side, a USB 2, a restore port, a USB 1, which is a C port, and TF, which is a micro SD card for the US folks. One LED on the front here, and just the display, and that is it. Also in the package, we have an HDMI cable, and a self-contained Wallwart style power cord. Let's take a look at the power requirements for this. A lot of people, including myself, if I have devices that are powered with a USB connection, I have a large bank in my rack that powers everything like that, so I don't need all these Wallwarts sticking out. Yeah, this is just a standard 5 volt, 2 amp, so pretty much any USB power brick is going to power this like anything else. Also works out for me because these short cables aren't long enough to route where I need to in the rack. And then we have the remote control, and wow, this is a lot nicer than I was expecting. I thought it would just be the cheap, generic, you know, Chinese remote that we've seen on a whole lot of other devices, but no, this is actually pretty custom. We have, hang on, small print. We have a lot of instructions actually embedded in the back of the remote. We've got Bluetooth pairing and programming instructions. That's cool that they put it right on the remote. I don't think I've ever seen that before. It's obviously got no batteries because it is featherweight. It is super light. The buttons themselves are slightly rubber coated, but they have a nice click and tactile. For those concerned about the sound, yes, they are actually a little loud. I thought they'd be really quiet like the Harmony Companion, but no, they look like they are, but they're very clicky, but they feel good. Dedicated numbers, got a microphone, I'm assuming button. Is there a mic on the remote? Yeah, there might be. I think that is a microphone right there. That's pretty cool. Power on and off, mute, whole bevy of smart home looking buttons, volume channel, D-pad, and 4 buttons around the D-pad. I actually like that little design. The center button sticks up just a little bit, so you can just hover your thumb over it. I'm not looking at it, and I know exactly where I am on the controls, so that's nice. I like them when they're either raised or sunken, and they just work like that. So that's nice. Sliding the back off, we need 2 AAAs. I sure would have liked to see AA's, but maybe this just sips power. The only difference is going to be how long between charges. All right, very cool. And then the only other thing in here is this sheet, a user guide, which is pretty small. I'm assuming most instructions are going to be online because it just gives us the basic specs and everything that I've already gone over. And as far as those specs go, it is, like I said, Android 12, quad-core processor, 4 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of internal storage, natively supports H.265 10-bit, all the standard audio and photo formats if you're going to use it for anything like that, gigabit Ethernet, and up to 6K at 60 FPS on the HDMI out. Obviously, everyone's going to be using standard 4K resolutions. All right, let's get it installed and take a look. So I plugged it in with all the factory cords just to make sure everything worked. Haven't fully booted it yet. Now I've got it connected to my Ethernet, my HDMI cable, and my longer power going into my power bank. Let's do the first boot. Front panel display out of the box is quite bright and brilliant. Got the animation splash screen coming up. Standard disclaimer, it's an open box. Do what you want, don't cry to them. Use remote and go to agree. Luckily, it is already paired. Let me make sure it's actually Bluetooth. I'm going to hide the remote from the IR signal here. Ah, no, it actually is in infrared mode. I just happen to be in front of it here. So I'm assuming we can pair it with Bluetooth once we get into the machine because it's got the Bluetooth instructions on the back. And I'm also going to see if I can pair it to my new Sofa Baton X2. It's detecting my Ethernet. Now it's wanting me to match the zoom of the device to my television. You might be using this on something like a computer monitor, which is a slightly different resolution. So I'm just pressing up until it completely fills my screen. All right, and then we're in. This is the base default screen, of course. So I'm going to go through all about installing stuff on it and using stuff and all that, but let's just run through what's in it out of the box, dead simple default. I'm assuming this is going to be settings. And yes, it is. Standard Android stuff there. Up at the top, we've got our casting name. We've got Bluetooth, which I'll hit in a second. I'm not sure if I have to actually sign into my Android account or not. Actually, I probably do to use the Google Play Store, so let me do that real quick. You know what, before I do this, let me try to pair a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, because I absolutely hate using remotes for typing. Just plugged in my little hub with my keyboard and mouse dongle, same thing I use on my PC for calibrating. Mouse, keyboard, and works. The login's being weird. I signed in, and then it brings me right back to this screen. I signed in again, it says it already exists on the device. All right, so nothing I tried worked. I'm trying a reboot. Hey, now it's signed in. All right, so if that happens to you, just reboot your device after you sign in. Now, the Sofa Baton X2. A lot of people have been asking about that since both of these products are brand new. And apparently there was a problem with connecting the previous Sofa Batons to the previous SuperBoxes. I don't know, never tried. So in the Sofa Baton app, I just added the new Bluetooth device. I used Android Box, and it took about a minute for everything to cycle through of what can possibly be connected to. Obviously, there's a bunch of stuff in range here, and I see the Bluetooth Sofa Baton keyboard connection, so I'm going to select that, and the Sofa Baton app now says it has been added. And the X2 is now syncing automatically. This can take a few minutes, so just wait until that completes on the remote. Sync successful. Let's give it a test. And yep, works just fine. All right, I'm going to go back to the original remote here for the rest of this review. Continuing on through settings here, we've got apps. Have anything installed other than out of the box. So what we see here is a built-in browser of some sort, the Google Play Store, which just launches the official Google Play Store so you can install whatever Android apps are out there publicly. Launcher 7, which I'll explain in a second. Settings, which we were in. And TV-ROM Updater, which I'm assuming is one of their over-the-air updater apps for the box itself. Now, the launcher, if you're new to Android or you're just unfamiliar with it, everything you see here, these tiles, the layout, icons in the corner, stuff down here, everything, this is all an app. This is not the operating system. Android OS is just code, and manufacturers can do whatever they want with it. The launcher is an app to give you a look and feel, and it launches all the other apps on the device. Now, the cool thing about Android is, and I did a video on one of my other channels years ago, you can install on most Android boxes other launchers, and there are some great free ones, and there are some really awesome ones for just a couple bucks. And it allows you to customize this home screen to do and look however you like. Now it has the advantage of not only giving you complete customization. So for example, maybe you love these big tiles. You could recreate that, no problem. Maybe you want a different kind of background. You can change that, no problem. Maybe you just like these, but you want them at the bottom, or you want them smaller, or you want them to glow when you hover over them. You can do that with a custom launcher. Or maybe you want it to look like an Apple TV or a Roku. You can do that with a custom launcher. Maybe you like this, but you just want to get rid of this built-in ad space here, which that's what it is, by the way. You can do that with a custom launcher. Now for this review, I'm sticking with their launcher, but let me know if you're interested in a video, an updated video on installing a custom launcher, and I'll see if I can put one on here. Not every box has the capability, but I have the strong suspicion that this is certainly capable. So just continuing down at the bottom real quick, we have what is probably a, file system launcher for quick browsing and launching of certain types of files, at least, that are stored locally on the device. And I see that it has built-in NFS networking, so you could connect to your NAS, for example. Or you can plug in a USB hard drive. Then we've got a little sweeper. I'm assuming that's going to be some kind of, cleaner. Sometimes Android isn't that great at dumping excess files, both in memory and temporary storage on the device. So it's nice to have that there. That's just a free app. A lot of people install that themselves, so they give you that out of the box. That looks like a speed tester. Okay, it's got Chrome built in, or at least wants you to start the installation. And I'm assuming this is going to take us to speed test. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm trying to navigate to the checkbox because I don't want to send them data. There we go. There's no indication on the screen using the remote here of where I am. I could cheat and turn on the mouse, but I just want to see how it acts out of the box. I'm going left and right now, and it's going to the different clickable areas, but I can't get down to that checkbox. All right, so I'm going to cheat, turn on the mouse again. Hold on. Okay, so it's going to fast.com, same type of thing, and it's doing its thing automatically. I'm on Fios with gigabit up and down, so we'll see what it shows here. So it's showing about a third of my actual internet speed. Let me do a refresh real quick. A little better here on the second click for whatever reason. Anyway, not exactly accurate, but it's showing I have a connection. So how do we close Chrome? I'm just going to hit the home button on the remote. I highly doubt very many people are going to be browsing the internet via a browser, keyboard, and mouse on this, but it's there if you want it. Next, we've got a trash can. Oh, okay, so it's a dedicated uninstaller, just a built-in menu there. That's cool. You don't have to go through the settings menu, which is actually a really pain in the butt to delete things in Android, so I like having that. We've got a microphone symbol. Interesting. It's, I think, just a hotkey for telling the remote to listen to you. I don't know why there would be an icon on the home screen for it. You just hit the button on the remote. Anyway, that's a Bluetooth function, so I need to pair the remote here real quick. And there we go, connected. So now if I press that, it still takes me to that screen. Okay. Oh, maybe that's just a hotkey to the instructions on pairing? Like I said, I have no idea why there would be a microphone button on the screen. It just doesn't make any sense. Next we have a keyboard. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so they give you keyboard shortcuts. And what can we add here? Okay, you can launch any app with a press of the keyboard. And then we have a person, looks like a help. Yep, there you go. So you got online support, customer service, and all that kind of good stuff. All right, let's check out these tiles real quick. Shouldn't be anything installed. Live TV. Live TV on this doesn't mean go to live TV. This is just a blue tile that has text that says live TV. You can, like I said, in a launcher, make that look and feel like whatever you want. So this is just taking you into a section where you might have multiple apps installed for your live TV needs. Think of it that way. So we don't have any installed yet. We'll take care of that in a second. And then another one, if you want to categorize, think of these as folders on your desktop. That's all they are. Video on demand, nothing installed yet. So these here, playback might be an app because it's a smaller tile. Nope, that's just a folder as well. How about browser? Oh, okay, so that's, browser is actually Chrome. I guess they just labeled it browser. I thought it would say Chrome, but yep, same thing there. So that's not a proprietary browser. All right, so let's test the microphone. I'm gonna tap the button on the remote. Got a prompt at the bottom. Oop, and it was listening. Hang on. Oh, it's just built-in Google Assistant. I was thinking it was like the voice to text in iOS. I'm not a big Android guy. I'm just not a fan. I don't even use my Google devices. Okay, so anyway, you've got Google Assistant built in. I'm sure those of you that like Google Assistant, you're completely at home with that. So you got that built in. That explains why there's a microphone button on the screen. Got it. And like I said, this tile on the right is just an ad. It does nothing but cycle through whatever ads they're pushing down from some server. That's a big reason, again, why people like their own launcher. You can get rid of anything like that. Apps, let's see. Shows everything that's installed. I'm going to come back to that in a second. I'm going to check for any updates. I don't know if this is updated or not out of the box. And then App Store should be their own app store. Okay, no, it's just another folder for whatever app stores you want to add. There is an app store from SuperBox, so I guess I have to install the app store first because there are 3 SuperBox main apps that you want to install for live TV, streaming, and that kind of stuff. So Play Store, we know what that is. That's Google's Play Store. There we go. This is where you install all your normal stuff, Hulu, HBO, Plex, whatever you've got, whatever you want to use. Straightforward there. App Store, this is the Android App Store. At least that's what the icon is. APK is the installation file. We'll go ahead and install it. So now we can run it. This might be the SuperBox one, actually. Just giving a standard disclaimer. Do what you want, don't cry to us. Okay. Okay, here we go. Yep, this is the SuperBox App Store. So it just didn't actually have it installed by default, but the shortcut to install was there. So the checkbox means it's already installed. The little gray arrow means it's available to download and install. These are the 3 apps I mentioned: Playback, Blue TV, and Video on Demand. Blue TV should be the live TV. Playback, I'm not sure how that ties in, but it's supposed to be some kind of DVR. So let's go ahead and install these real quick. And then they give you all these other options that are just available to download. It's right here. They've kind of put in all the popular stuff that you might want to use. But again, everything else is available either on the Google Play Store or through this app here called Downloader, which is just a link shortener. And there are tons of websites out there that give you codes to put into Downloader to easily download other stuff. So instead of having to type in or find a big URL, since you're navigating here with your remote, not a usually mouse and keyboard, with Downloader, you just put in a number. It's really quick. Like I said, it's just a link shortener and it'll download stuff that way. So Downloader is always good to have because a lot of times you'll find instructions on the internet and it'll give you the downloader number to install something instead of a URL. So now if we go to apps, we should see the 3 we just installed and Downloader, and there we go. So let's check out Blue TV. This should be live TV. It's downloading the data for the first time. That was actually really quick. Oh, cool. A little pop-up here about how to use it. You got favorites, so pretty much this is like cable TV. Long press OK to add and remove from favorites. OK to go to full screen. Pretty straightforward there. Sweet. Now I'm gonna blur all this out for YouTube, but we got a preview, pretty much just like cable, and we've got, wow, it's in alphabetical order out of the box, and there are a ton of live TV channels. This is really cool. Wow. Holy moly. Are all of these working? Even local? Waiting for it to, oh my God, it is. Press OK to full screen. That is really cool. That is really cool. All right, oops, I hit home instead of back, darn it. I am not gonna get used to that home being on the left. That's usually where back is on a remote. Anyway, that was live TV. Love it. Let's check out Blue Video on Demand. I actually don't know what to expect on here. Maybe it's like, okay, yeah, it's like popcorn. So they just give you their own interface for all the stuff that you can stream that way. And again, I'm blurring all this out just because of YouTube, but if you're used to any kind of streaming movie app, this is their take on it. Let me check out the actual interface here. Pretty much looks like Plex, or a streamlined version of it at least. And I forgot to mention the graphics are very nice, high res. They appear to be 4K. I can't see any pixels, and I'm literally standing 3 feet in front of my 83-inch OLED. So let's try streaming something here, see how fast it launches. That is as fast as any kind of service you could want. Quality is what you expect from these types of services. It's definitely highly compressed, but it works. So quite impressed with the VOD. If you like that sort of stuff, this is probably the best interface I have ever seen for it. And then downloader, like I said, just a link shortener. Here's your guide. You enter in whatever your online guide tells you to put in, and it downloads it for you, and you don't have to type in a huge long URL. Pretty straightforward. So I wanted to check out the, what was it called? Playback. What is playback? Oh, it looks like it might have, yeah, it just has a built-in week-long backdated DVR of at least some of the live TV stuff. How many are in here? 86. So 86 of these channels here are available a week back from live. I've got an add button down here, presumably to add something else to the home page. Standard little apps here if you want them. Picture gallery, it's got casting, it's got some type of music player, but I actually wanted to go back in and make sure that we have everything updated. I'm gonna go to System Update, see if there's anything available. Oh, is that a big button? I've been standing here waiting for it to do something. Yeah, that is a big button. Please select Update Package. I don't have anything to select, so I guess there isn't any. That's fine. Go back. How about TV-ROM Updater? None available. Okay, so we are fully updated. Good. So out of the box, this appears to be an absolutely fantastic live TV, DVR, and free streamer for pretty much everything. Not top quality though. If you're looking for a reference kind of system, you're still looking at doing it yourself with Plex and streaming from your own server. But I have to say, this is really slick, very easy to use. And I got a discount code for you down in the description. So let me know if you want to see a video on changing the launcher, and I'll see if this does it. Other than that, we'll see you next time.